Could be morning, afternoon, could be Monday morning. Let me know where you're coming from. We're just gonna just chill. We're gonna get into some stuff just a second. I want to talk about this basketball. Keep it real simple. Let me get myself connected. See if anybody's on today. Okay, so we got an interesting poll here today. We're gonna be talking about the basketball. See if anybody's on here today. I know people are doing stuff for this, and I was on here yesterday, so I know one day you don't be on here. That's when everybody come through. So just chilling, just in chill mode today. Yeah, there's a lot to take in today. We're gonna see what's up. Should be a good game though. See what we're dealing with. Mm. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday today. We're just up here just in chill mode. Probably be here for like an hour. What's happening? Glad to see people coming through. Hello, how you doing? How you doing? Okay, look, we're gonna get some crowd up here today. Okay, good. Hope y'all having a good Sunday. Someone say, I'm okay. See, what's up? What's up? Extra. What's up? Thank you for coming through. Welcome aboard. See what I got. What's happening? Good. We got some questions today. Good. I'm glad to have you on here, Jay. Will feel free. I'm with it. I'm with it today. I am so with it today. So feel free. I'm just sending out my link so for people. So you got questions, I got answers. Bring it. If you ready, I'm ready. I think I got stuff going, so let's do it. Let's make it happen. We're gonna go green, so go ahead. Hit me up, Will. Hit me up. Good morning, good morning. I am ready and ready. Okay, let's go. We need the questions to be answered, so whenever you want to go, feel free. What do you think is saying us cars aren't robots and things? I didn't even realize he was such a comedian. He's funny. Oh God, he's hilarious. I didn't know he was so funny. No one ever. That's what you get. You were bugging me all year about how great you were excited about the all season. You were going, oh, oh. Like I told you, you were stuck with the two Stooges. Oh God, you stuck with Stooges. Man, when y'all got rid of James Harden, you got rid of one Stooge. Then you brought Paul George, and that's a polite way of him saying he don't really want to play. He's podcast. Actually, he be his podcast. He's averaging a triple double. He's doing quite well in his podcast life. Oh wait a minute, y'all didn't hire him to be a podcast. But never mind, my bad. I think he's a comedian. That's what I think. I'll do a video about it. But every time he opens his mouth, I laugh. Taxing, is it because he got Pearl and baby mamas? I don't know. I tried to warn you that your team sucked, and I felt bad for Nick Nurse. But you and Nick Nurse, I felt bad for. And then Tyrese Maxey, and then it started to rub off on him because he stopped playing. Um, he's bad news wherever he goes. He's a known bandit. He is a known bandit. Um, he's the woulda, coulda, shoulda Vince Carter. The woulda, coulda, kind of like Vince Carter woulda, coulda Kobe. I know what he signed. And y'all were dumb enough to give it to him. Y'all keep acting like he's 32 and he gonna play like he was 22. I don't know why y'all keep getting hoodwinked by him. Him and James Harden are two of the known big burglars in the NBA. They're known for burglarizing you. They're known for what they do. Harden was too. How come Philadelphia got hoodwinked by all that and Jimmy Butler? How come y'all got hoodwinked by the Obvious? Got hoodwinked by Tobias Harris, who now plays pretty good for Detroit. Boy, y'all get hoodwinked. I don't know what y'all be doing in Philly. I don't know. I have no idea. I wish I knew. Because these turkeys be hustling your pockets. I tell you. I would have told anybody, if you see Paul George, run and don't look back and say nope. Well, he doing what he always do. You know, he do what he always do. Hold it, hold it. He do what he always do. Hold it. I'm back. Sorry about that. No, they don't. That's what you signed up for. Forgive me, I had to take care of something. I'm okay now. Asking me about Paul George. Dang, that thing made me have to sneeze. Oh man, Paul George. Okay, let me tell people who, cause this now first time ever watching me. I'm very human on these live streams, and if someone says something funny, I'm gonna crack up because I'm just human like that. I got teeth and I got expression, and I can't help myself. Well, now for you it is, not for me. It's not. That's what I expect. As much as the Heat sucks, they're not stupid. And dang well Pat Riley would never bring that turkey on the team. There's people we don't talk about. We see them. We say, yeah, we remember. We know what you do. OKC pandemic P. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That dude should have been a Hall of Famer. He should have been in somebody's. He up there talking about, well, if LeBron didn't play, I'd have won it. I mean, like, man, come on. LeBron ain't got nothing to do with you coming up short. You just always been short. You did play your best ball with the Pacers, and I will say this: if he was with the Pacers right now, he'd be scary because he wouldn't have to be the man. The problem is he's not an alpha. He's a very good player who has top tier type talent, but his mindset ain't top tier. So, but he is good for a laugh. I got to give it to him. I do get a good laugh off of him. You might not like that, but I can't help it. You brought it up, cracks me up because he's very serious about what he says. And I'm gonna tell you something. He is a comedian. I've known Paul George for quite a while. Did you not see him with the Clippers? Did you not see him with OKC? He been like this the last few years. I don't. He left the Clippers because his daddy. Kwame was talking to you. Yeah, I do. I do. I do. And that's why I told you before. Unlike some of my fellow brethren on here, who I do got respect for, I don't slurp Michael Jordan. That whole mess in DC was embarrassing. Yeah, he could still score 20 plus points, but he was old and he was not able to stay healthy enough to get that team to be even a play-in or a legit team. They play hard and spark. Doug Collins failed Kwame Brown. Doug Collins was bought and paid by Jordan because Michael Jordan was trying to set up his little North Carolina glee club, and it was a disaster. And it was embarrassing. Jerry Stackhouse called him out. Stackhouse was like, you don't play with your heroes. He brought in all these people, and it didn't work. And it was basically a clubhouse as opposed to a situation. He showed right there, but he stayed for 13 years. So he wasn't no bust. Because if he had a sucked, they had to think some of him to trade him for Paul Gasol. He actually earned his pension. Well, it's only tough because he caught Jordan fiery and Jordan was at the end and Kobe, but not really. He did okay. It's just that there was a lot of pressure. I do. I don't talk about it because I remember. Maybe if I put it out in video, but see, I know I catch backlash because some people say, "Well, you hating on Jordan and stuff." I say, "No, I know what he was like, and I know that messed with Doug Collins because Doug was a fanboy of Jordan, just like Ahmad Rashad." And see, people need to be telling the truth. I get tired of hearing about Michael Jordan like I do LeBron James. I got a video coming out sometime soon. I talked about it. They great and they two of the most overrated and over talked about players too because they didn't all both float on sunshine. Jordan is better than LeBron. Don't get it twisted. But the Jordan problem is that they were slurping him just like they slurped LeBron, but a different type. But the Jordan thing with the commercial and all that stuff was tiring. And I understand what the OGs got problem with him, and they, you know, because they ran that to your headache, and they do that whenever whoever is their in particular player, they have a tendency to just ride the wheels off. Except in Jordan's case, he really did dominate once he had the '90s to himself. There was no Magic, there was no Isaiah, there was no Bird. He ran it. LeBron ain't ran nothing. Because if Kawhi Leonard halfway played like he's supposed to, we might be looking at that situation different. We know Steph's right there with LeBron, and KD go somewhere where he don't be trying to be a broke version of LeBron. So all I'm saying is, it hits differently. Because Meg the Stallion is no different than Cassie, and they don't tell the whole truth. And Meg the Stallion should be held accountable, and she should get like 2 or 3 years for perjury, but she won't. Tory Lanez almost became a turkey, got carved. This is the kind of stuff in that business where people lie all the time. Shaq held back because the league softened him up, not because he held back. I disagree. The thing is this: they couldn't legally, when he got bigger, they couldn't properly ref him. So guys were flopping and acting. So he had to get lighter. He was actually light on his feet. He didn't go as hardcore as he could have. They took it away from him for his dominance. How was he too nice when he was putting up numbers and he was carrying his team? He was the dude. I gotta do the Tory Lanez too. But that's a shame about Tory Lanez. And she knows what's up. That's why I don't like these characters in this industry. Now you're trying to tell you how fake they are. And they are fake. They are very fake and they lie all the time. And they got people up here acting like they sympathetic. You know. No, Shaq wasn't nice. Shaq ran what he did. He just helped him up that particular time. I don't look at Shaq as nice. Shaq was tearing people's behinds up. All the acting, I think the injuries, and also think the way they refed him, and they allowed flopping and acting to take over, and it wore him down. I think that's what slowed him down. He wasn't properly given the benefit of the doubt. If he got the benefit of the doubt, he'd have had 10 more free throws than James Harden average, which he should have. Because if a beard can give you 6 or 7 free throws, Shaq should have 15 every game. They never do, Tom, because it's a situation where people are just going by what they say, and people ain't making it. It's not considered as equal. If it was considered equal, you would see different situations. Karen Bryant with Emmett Till is accountable. Lied on that young man. You know what happened with Emmett Till? This kind of stuff that happened. Did you see? No, what did he say this time? What that turkey say this time? What did he say? What crazy cray did he say? Because I saw what Paul Pierce said. And you know I don't sit around wasting my time with Kendrick's flip flop behind. What he say? I think OKC gonna win too tonight. I hope they do. I really do. I'm not knocking Denver, but I kind of would like to see them win because I think they're the more better of the two. What did Kendrick say? Come on now, spit it out. I don't think I'm gonna hear anything funnier than what Paul George said. I know, like I said before, there's no accountability, but people be lying all the time. That's why you gotta be careful in them streets. on now. Y'all gotta keep it going now. What did Kendrick Perkins say? What did Ken? Oh, he says there's a clear possibility. Okay, let me address that. LeBron had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Anthony Davis. Who has Jokic had that's in that area code? Who? LeBron is pathetic now because he's older and he doesn't have, and he traded one All Star for another than Luka Doncic. Who's gonna feel sorry for a guy? And did I mention Ray Allen? Who gonna feel sorry for a guy who won his championship runs with D Wade, Anthony Davis were considered two of the 75 greatest. Ray Allen too, three of the top 75 greatest players ever. Bosch and Kyrie can make claims. Okay, how am I gonna feel? And how am I gonna feel sorry for that? Jokic plays with some timing Jamal Murray, half timing Aaron Gordon, and barely any timing Michael Porter Jr. What are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do with that? There is no hypocrisy because Jokic is younger in his peak in his prime. And he, last I checked, when he won his ring 2 years ago, he ain't had no Dwayne Wade on his team. He ain't had no Chris Bosh on his team. He ain't got no Ray Allen on his team. So Kendra need to shut up. She sound like an idiot. And I'm gonna tell him right now, he need to shut up because you know what? What Jokic does is better than what LeBron's done. Because think about it. Nobody is looking at Jamal Murray like Dwayne Wade. Nobody's looking at Jamal Murray like Kyrie Irving. No one is looking at Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. on the equivalent of Chris Bosh or Anthony Davis. What the heck he talking about? He sound like a first class idiot. He did trade one All Star for another. He got rid of head coaches. He went and got him a vlogger, a vlog man to be his head coach. He did get help. He spent his whole career getting help. He didn't treated his teammates like bowling pins to recycle. What the heck he talking about? He's gotten so much help it's not even funny. That's one of the reasons why he can't be in the top 2 to 3 because it's like if everybody got those opportunities, then you'd have more guys with 4 and 5 rings right now. If they could all do that. Also, for an all around player, an all around game, he should be able to make people better. He can't. So he's not looking good as Jokic. So if I'm Kendrick Perkins, I shut up entirely. Because the more you talk, the worse you sound. Because you're making Jokic look like he's special. But gave Cat enough rope. He didn't just hung himself on that one. Cause I mean, like, come on now. That is what I'm gonna say. People don't like it. Tough. I said it. Cause there is nothing about what LeBron James has done. You watching? I saw the low lights of that mess, and Angel pushed old girl, and then Caitlyn pushed her back in retaliation, and Angel blew it up. They got their butts spanked, and there's always gonna be tension. It's almost like they playing WWF. I might do a video about it. I might not. The thing about it is that's all they hoping for is some kind of something to trigger it up and just to make Caitlin Clark look good. Until Angel Reese, you just gotta play basketball. So does Angel Reese. Until they do something, let me know. I'm not saying she can't play, but again, she's got too much hype. But I don't really want to hear about neither one of them, really, unless you're going deep in the playoffs. I'm not trying to hear all that. And I'm sure there's going to be some retaliation next time they play. There'll be something. They're going to turn this into Orange is the New Black. It'll be something. It's just a hard foul, which they do in the men's all the time. That's how soft the NBA is. Because that whole mess with Caitlyn and Angel Reese was more believable than most of the stuff I see with the men's stuff that goes on. I mean, it's pretty bad. She looks better than she did starting off last year. I'll give you that. But I don't like no agendas. You either can play or you can't. All this trying to make somebody into something not, it gets tiring. Mm. So you say you got a lot of questions. Let's get to them. The more you ask, the more I'm ready today. I got some video work I got to do. That Paul George then gave me some work. He didn't give me some work today. I don't know if he meant to, but he did. But I already said what I said about Kendrick. That that only makes Jokic look better than LeBron. That's all. Mhm. So I wouldn't have said nothing if I was at Turkey. I wouldn't. I'd have kept that to my. I kept that underneath my head hat. 'Cause, we got something. No, because then that's because the problem is that he's been no. If they don't have him, they wouldn't have been out the first round. So you asking me because he won two games for him and he got another one in overtime. So he was responsible for three of their wins. So no, no, because I don't see nothing else that they got that can replace him. And if they do got something that can replace him, then he's got to come off the bench. So I would say no. It's if OKC attacks. If OKC can attack, then it's definitely a whole void. If they don't attack, without him there, I expect Chad Holgram to go crazy. I would put size up, and the Nuggets would be really be shorthanded. That's how you gotta make them pay. Cause he's been that big for them. He's been their best player as far as I'm concerned. I know Joker's got numbers, but without Aaron Gordon, they're not out the first round. Remember, he hit that big shot. He hit that big shot. He saved their butt. Yeah, he has to go for 35 to 40. But can he do it? He doesn't do back to back. He's one of those cats when you least expect is when he does something, and when you want him to do something, he don't do nothing. So if you're a Laker fan, you know how Murray gets down. He plays his best against y'all against that though. It's gonna be an interesting game though. I'd like to see OKC win because Shea's the MVP, and I like to think that they had the best record in the West. At least somebody with the top record in the league will go on, because that would be crazy if none of the teams that were top seed didn't go nowhere. Because We got Boston, Cleveland gone, and then they have OKC gone. That would show the parity is crazy, and it almost means that your record didn't count. And then Paul George might been on to something. It might be because if that's the case, except he ain't the one though. Anyway, keep hitting these polls up, and please hit these likes up. So just keep the questions coming. Should be on for another 30 minutes. What's up, Rich? Well, I tried to tell you. You was all on me talking about how great he was. Tried to tell you. Well, somebody, well, they better get healthy. They got time to get healthy. Was that after he tried to play doctor on Josh Hart after he wanted to check, make sure he was okay? I don't know. You know, they got time to rehab for the summer. They're gonna be some moves in Boston. You know, I told you Jimmy Butler was older and trying to do his best James Harden impersonation to pump fake. No, they didn't finish. The wheels only fell off at the last game. They didn't finish. They blew that series. It might not be fashionably correct to say this. I still think they were a better team than New York. Just that New York finished better off. That's all. New York scored under 95 points 2 games. Let that sink in. Of course, they spanked Boston up the last game. Well, Boston even cracked 85, but still. When you lose 2 games at home the way Boston did, you don't deserve to win. And they took them for granted. That's the problem I have with them. That's why the coaching, that's that arrogance. You can't blow games like that at home. You just can't. You blew 3 games, two in Boston and one in New York. You can't do that. The Knicks are one of the most luckiest teams I've seen too, if I'm honest. I'm not buying a Cinderella in this because I don't think they're quite that good. But they good enough to get by if you make mistakes and then you let them stick around. They will make you pay. But I'm not blown away by the Knicks. You got to start Harden. So after that, it doesn't really matter to me after that because he's the only one that I would start because of what his career was like. I guess. What's up? Thanks for coming through, man. What's up? I guess if I was gonna bench anyone out of Russ and Melo, I gotta bench Melo and I gotta cut Russ. Yeah, because I know Melo can score. Russ is streaky. He's not the scorer that those two cats were. You know, his triple doubles and all around game, but he don't hit like them two cats hit though. Not peak and prime. So that's how it would be for me. Harden starts, Melo bench, and then Russ gets cut for me. Nobody's gonna cut James Harden. That's a friendly way of saying I'm too old. I ain't got the puppies and the wheels, and I just have to. Well, when's the last time CP3 had a career that I can remember that counted? Because you got to take me back. You got to go back to when when Instagram was 2 3 years old. Back when Snapchat was around. Ain't nobody thought about no CP3 in like 10 years. Come on now, CP3. He ain't counted since him and Steph Curry used to do them All State commercials, and he was going up and Steph was looking at him. How that turn out? No, no. He's turned into one of the most overrated, long-winded cats that people forgot because he's played for every team. He's going to end up being a mascot for every team. and they still trying to tell me he's top five point guard ever. I mean, they still, if he had won a ring, he was bought and paid for. I mean, they still slurping. You know, LeBron just can't keep up with nobody. You say anything when you getting burnt. We ain't gonna have no 20 minute no CP3 debate now. He look old this year. I think he look old. Well, thank you, man. Yeah, I had to put it down about Jimmy Butler. He, you know, like I said before, Pat Riley ain't off, and Pat Riley need to shut up too, cause like, look, you ain't exactly attracting nobody to heat culture. But Jimmy Butler had to go. I'm not gonna argue with that, but you're both at fault. But how long ago was that? I didn't turn on Jimmy. Jimmy turned on me. What you talking about? The Heat, I said a high second tier sidekick player, not an alpha. If you go to state, you got no choice, unless of course you can get yourself or your hands on Giannis, or you can get Zion Williamson with a trainer, and then Jimmy Butler comes off the bench, and you got to do him like Russ. As a Heat fan, I'm going to diss Jimmy Butler with a royal passion. As a basketball fan, he's all right with Golden State, but he ain't the X factor. He ain't the second sidekick. He got to be the third kick. They need a second kick, or they need to bring in, yeah, and he ain't got it. They need two cats off the bench that can score. They need another alpha or a cat that's young and can create. That's what they need. They need someone that can really go between Steph and Draymond. Well, I told you that last year. Did you know? You remember my videos last year when I told you that when they were going to go to France, that the old guard was going down? I tried to tell you. Oh, I remember that shot. That ball went doop, 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 swish. I remember that ball. Kawhi had to stay there. He'd be in a discussion with Steph and LeBron, and he would get way more. Because I think he had another ring in him in Toronto. That was a faux pas. He wanted to go back to LA and ha 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 and all that mess. And he wasn't the same. You down to tell you. Because he still can play, but it ain't the same. He needs a sidekick that's legit and a bench that's legit. They need to play better defense, and he needs a sidekick that can create with him. Because right now, it's just no. That ain't getting no. You don't get no. You can't get 2025 out of MPG in a month. How you think you're going to get it in a day? The cat probably put up 20 and combined the whole series. Come on now. 20 from him. Nobody wanted to play in Toronto. But what I'm saying is, yeah, he was on his way. Because he is that dude. He is that dude. Russ ain't getting no 20 and 10 and 7. Yeah, but I don't think they'll win though. But if they do win, that's gonna be some. That's gonna be that'll be interesting. That'll be the first Western and Eastern Conference payback series as I've seen to both sides. Because remember, Denver lost to Minnesota last year, and the Knicks lost to Indiana last year. So it'll be the payback series. It'll be interesting. There'll be payback. This season is wild. It's because brothers go there, and there ain't nothing to do except for go to the clubs. They get taxed out the yang, and it's removed. It's a different culture. So it's not a place that cats go and make a lifetime there, especially the ones that can play, because they want to be treated like they. That's like being in Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm talking about? It's not Saudi, but it's removed. It's remote, and they don't and they get taxed like crazy. They get taxed. So I know Tracy McGrady complained about it. I think Vince did. I think Bosch did. Cause I forgot who it was who came out and said that we tried to watch TV, and then so yeah, I remember something. This was before Drake got there, and you know Kawhi wasn't gonna care nothing about no Drake, but DeRozan did, you know. But the cats get out of there. They use it like a, you know, it's like a vacation home. They not trying to make no. Oh yeah, the tax be tearing it behind up, tear that butt up. So you know, it's different because you in another country. May not seem like it, but you is. So yeah, because they didn't cast the lifestyle, and cast wanted to go and do other things and be in, you know, and it was, you know, think about it when Kawhi went there, that was seen as a joke. Popovich thought I'm gonna show him, I'm gonna send him to Beirut, and then he flew around and won a ring, and then he's like, because it was basically send him as far away as you can. That's the cold game that sports does. If you got a favorite player or a team, and notice when someone gets traded who cries and moans, they send their butt way out there. It was a basketball play on both parts. Angel Reese pushed a girl in the back, Caitlin pushed her, and it was fair game. I don't make no big stank about it because that's how cats used to play. It's just that you're seeing it in women, and because it's racially polarized and who they are. But that's an old school way of doing basketball. That's all that was. Caitlin was trolling, and she knew she could get away with it. Yeah, he was. That's what the cats used to do. Send your butt, you know, to Saudi Arabia. He ain't gonna do nothing. And then the cat's playing for a ring, and then you sitting up there like, yeah, I know Jay Will likes her. I mean, she played good last night, but I think Angel Reese next time they play probably bust her up. You know, I mean, you know, this is that little magic bird female version that they trying hard to push, which you know, take it with a grain of salt. I didn't make a big stank about. Yeah, because the pushes were both offset. It just so happens it's those two, and I do like Angel Reese. All right, she gets rebounds. She just doesn't score a lot. She gets rebounds. She definitely got a rebound game in her. She's like a small female version of Dwight Howard, like that. It's crazy too, but she just don't hit them dimes enough. That's all. And the team don't really have shooters. I mean, that's one of the problems I noticed with that team. If you got someone who can dominate the board, y'all got to do a better job, and they just don't. Well, you're not gonna get calls on the road. You know it's politics, so you already know. If you go looking for calls, you won't get them. You have to assert yourself and take over the game. Get some stops. I mean, you know, I root for her of the two, but I can't sit there and say that that wasn't basketball play. I'm not gonna lie, because that was fair game. And I saw what Angel Reese clearly did. She pushed a girl. You talking about in Ohio? Because they're young notorious for having them rallies. If you're talking about that game, I'm not gonna get into it. What's up? Well, if he plays in 34 minutes, that means that the others are doing their job. That's what that'll mean. If the others are doing their job, then he don't have to play as long. You know. Yeah, I know about Ohio. Well, again, I think the next time they play, Angel Reese will get calls at home cooking. I doubt very seriously they'll let that slide. I think that people will, you know, I don't make a big deal about it because it's one game early in the season, and anything that they do is going to offset. But we know that. Oh, of course they will. I lived in. I was around that area. Of course they will. And then they get mad when they get that Will Smith two piece. But I know. I lived on the East Coast. Angel's got to know she's going to be facing that. She got to play smart. You just have to play smart. You do have to check them because that's like y'all can't be getting all comfortable. And we blame it because you listen to hip hop. Don't let Fat Joe get you a two piece. Okay. Don't let Jennifer Lopez get you a two piece. Okay. You're missing the point. Whatchamacallit, what's her name? The left hander, the one that reminds me think of David Robinson and Hakeem. Well, I can't think of her now. She's the one that's the best player going to WNBA. I just like Caitlin Clark because of pop culture. Whatchamacallit, I can't think of her right now. She's a left hander. She can shoot. She's got juke moves. Um, I can't think of her name right now. She's the best player going. Caitlin is cute. I'm talking about the best one going today is what's her name? I can't think of right now. She's the best one going today. They all do. Yep, that's who I was thinking of. That's the best player I like to watch. You see her first step, and she gives you a dream shake with a David Robinson cut. I'm like, this chick got smooth too. Got a smooth handle, smooth game. I like watching her play. Aja Wilson. That's what happened with the brother. Yeah, you see, I know. That's why the whole mess going on. I know. Well, Park Clan. That's a tough question because they both were great in different ways. But for me, in all honesty, Swoops got better over the longer run, but Cynthia Cooper moved me at the earlier run. So I think Swoops because of later in the career, but Cynthia Cooper was a beast at first. Like if I go by their first few years, I was Cynthia Cooper, but I guess Swoops the edge at the end. But Cynthia Cooper was bad. Yeah, Lobo was bad too, because I go back to when she was Connecticut, all that. Mm-hmm. But I like Aja Wilson. Aja Wilson be moving me because I like how she finesses that rock. She can shoot that thing. She got a soft touch bank shot. She's like a female David Robinson meets Dream. Yeah, Aja Wilson is one of my favorites. Thanks, Ted, for mentioning her because I knew I had to have her name on my tip of my tongue. But I watched her play last year and I was like, yeah, I like the way she posts up, nice dribbles, nice game. Yeah, Diggins is cool. That too. But so is Aja Wilson. Mm. Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that, but I don't know why Whitlock. I don't know why Shannon Sharp would be jealous of Whitlock. Except Whitlock is able to say it in a way that he can't. She ain't gonna cook me. You ain't seen Aja Wilson play. Where's Ted with some teeth to laugh at you on that one? Have you seen Aja Wilson play? Shh, She ain't Angel Reese. First of all, Aja Wilson can repost, can shoot, can move. Please, they ain't even close. Well, it depends on what the black woman statue they got. Depends on who it would be. If it's about Harriet Tubman or Rosa Parks or Coretta Scott King or Dr. Betty Shabazz or somebody significant, it depends. I think I saw something. I didn't really touch it, but Elijah Wilson gonna cook that butt. You ain't going against no Angel. Oh, no offense to this Angel Reese. Aja is too cool for that. If you seen Aja Wilson do that scoop and moves, probably is. Because he's got a different face every time I see him. This turkey's got to be pushing 180. The turkey was about 44 when I was a kid. He's still around and as big as ever. That's when I knew Trump was full of it when he said he don't know who he was. I'm like, okay. That's how I knew he was lying. I called cap on him there. He been around forever. And you know them biggest, them hateful biggest, they lived to be about 185. All cadaver looking cells, all scary. I have to look at it. I saw some on it, but I don't know what it pertains to. You know. And eventually, if I do get to a subject or a story, it's gonna be, you know, after I do other stories. But I'll get to it though, because New York is funny. There's some funny stuff. I don't know what that means in English. Yeah, David Duke been around forever. I was a young boy when he was in the Klan. I was in Texas and I saw him in Louisiana. That was back 40 plus years ago. So I don't know how old he is. He been hateful ever since I known him though. That's a fact. So Steve Bannon them know who he is. They know. They be lying though. They know who he is though. Got some money on somebody. Cause he the difference between him and them is that he don't be hiding how he really is though. Only if only if I feel that both teams shouldn't have lose. This ain't something that I sit around thinking this is gonna be great. We only care because of Shea and Jokic. We don't care because of the teams. Let's keep it 100. Denver and OKC do not look like championship teams because I didn't see the best of them in this series and I seen the worst of them. This series is not that compelling, except for who's the MVPs involved. Because OKC needs another score. They lack one more, and Denver needs about three, 2.5 parts. But it's because they've been able to stay close. But it's not because I think it's some great basketball. Yep. And it's noticeable. That's how I feel because without him, they just like a roly poly team or just pieces that can. They look like Cleveland. They're basically Cleveland without SGA. And if Donovan Mitchell could control tempo like SGA, no, it's not just youth because actually younger teams are geared to have runs. That's how we grew up. That's how you saw Golden State become a dynasty. Most times with teams together 2 or 3 years, and OKC is long overdue. Stephen A. Smith was right about Sam Presti. Then all that talent they done brought to OKC ain't got no ring to show for it. You on the clock. The only times you keep drafting people and all these MVPs, you gotta stay in the Western Conference Finals and beyond. So Jamal did go off. Nah, I ain't hear nothing like that. I maybe because the West is because you look at Houston. That's what OKC is kind of like without him. Kind of like Houston. Mm, think they're gonna beat. I think they'll get a piece next year. Yeah, that's so ridiculous because they both out the elements. Acho ain't got no business talking. Only thing he can hit is Joy Taylor. That's the only topic we want him to tackle. And as far as KD, we know that he gonna have a bee in his bonnet about stuff that don't pertain to him. I mean, you didn't couch surf with all half the league. Yeah, did I say something? You know I'm going with this. His old corny football takes. We don't care about your takes. Big old cheese, big old, big old Keenan Thompson head turkey sitting up there. We don't care about your takes. We give you player props. We like you hit that what you hit. What Jason Whitlock said that brown pecan. We'll give you that. You get dap. You get pimp dap. Cause I didn't really think you had no real talent. And you like a third, fourth tier commentator, and you just be on these tangents. Yeah, like he's cameo going, tastes like candy. Well, if he ever comes on the stage for Halloween dressed like cameo with a red cod piece, oh, I'm gonna give him damn. A pool party. Yeah, he is stuck in a time warp. See, good thing you mentioned that. Brothers who used to be from different places, they came to the States and they were like 10 years behind. Because I remember when Pedro and Ramon Martinez, they came here and they had big old greasy Jerry curls. I mean, their curls was like staining up the TV when they were pitching. And I'm like, oh, y'all got that super wet curl from 83, 84, except this 1990 had the super grease. And he's another one. He just got he just got wind of the box. So cats come. See, this is the stuff that we laugh at because when you grew up, like if you watch Soul Trainer, you was a little before your time, but if you watch within the culture, right, how we wear colors and clothes, we black, we like, oh yeah, that was the 80s, that's the 90s, that's the oh. Like you see the throwback jersey in the early oh, the throwback jerseys, the clap tracks, that's just early oh. These things. Ocho didn't get the memo, so where he was. But hey, look, I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. He got hooked up with a gig. Is Ocho a DEI hire? I think he's a DEI hire. Yeah, man. Well, Ramon had the real greasy one. His brother Ramon had that super LA color. He fit in LA real good. Jerry juice all on the jersey. The Martinez had big old marks. He's like just swirling that curl. Thing was greasy too, boy. So you could just put your skillet on top of the TV and it goes start frying. Had that skillet curl. But that's what Acho. So first of all, Durant's always like some get off my lawn, always crying. Yep. Well, I told you them brothers came over. You gotta remember, they 5 years behind us. You'll see that. Cats rocking stuff that we stopped wearing like 5 years ago because they get time to, TV didn't work. Didn't have the same. Like, come over here and that's what they be working with. That's the truth. It's like I said before, black folks in the States go through phases and styles, and they looking at somebody where they ready to clown them like, oh, you just now rocking that? We rocked that like 7 years ago. That's how we think. Like the music, that's how it was. It really was. You see people, you be cracking up. Mm-hmm. Especially brothers come from different places. Because the Ortiz still got him a box. They got it noticed that. He's still rocking a mini Gumby. I see David Ortiz in there. Strahan does it, but it's low key. But as he keeps it modernized. But Poppy had it be Poppy had it like that. I'm telling you. You only saying that because you've been hanging out with Adam Silver. The Knicks been getting calls against Detroit, and Boston took them light. The Pacers ain't gonna take them light. He had that box. He had that corporate box though. But you right, no, they want Minnesota. They would want Minnesota in the finals. It's all about Ant. As a matter of fact, that Adam Silver has his way, New York and Minnesota in the finals for the next 5 years. Be something. I know if David Stern was alive, that's what it would be. Timberwolves. And the video that I did yesterday makes it compelling. Because if you watch my video, I said that Julius Randle and Cat is the first time since probably I got to go back to the football because I didn't say it in the video. But Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, where you had a trade off, but you go to another sport. But this trade off is crazy because Randall and Cat, they're gonna have to make changes. Drew Holiday might be expendable. They might have to do something with their bench. Um, they got too much of the same, and they lack discipline. And I like Mazzola, but he didn't get he. They got cocky. Can't be. What did they choke in 2023? What was the choke there? Because they were down by Miami by 3-0. That wasn't a choke job. They just got a hustle in that one. They wasn't quite. They almost came back. This is worse because they had 2 games. They had 3 games where they were up by 15, and they blew 2 of them at home and went on the road. This is worse. This is way worse, especially since they won a ring. And you win a ring, and you coming back. I expect you to be on your p's and q's. I don't expect you to go out like that. This was way more embarrassing. This one they're not gonna live down until they win another ring. This was worse. That's when Milwaukee came out the East. I gotta think about that. I don't remember. Nah, this is worse. It's way worse because they were a better team than the Knicks. I'm gonna keep on saying it, but the Knicks played smarter, finished that butt off. He's probably the MVP of the West, maybe the whole thing because I knew he was good for his 18 and 9, and he used to tend to kind of sit there. But this cat throwing up 25 and 30 and hitting 10 boards and assists, he's getting called out because the lack of defense. At least with Udoka always did the grind it out, the grind you out, get physical. This whole 3 point get trigger happy, and you just don't finish out games. Yeah, your coaching looks suspect. Your leaders look suspect. That's embarrassing. Because there's no way they should have lost to the Knicks. They outplayed them in 5 games. They just didn't finish the games off, and that is because that arrogance should have beat that butt. Yeah, think about it. They've won more titles than anybody in franchise here series. You got 2 of the 15 best players, young coach, except he got a ring. That's why Don Nelson got to be feeling sick right now because cats like him and Rick Alderman, and even your boy um, Pringles, um, Dan Tony. Shoot, he coached today. They win a ring because that 3 ball stuff. That's all those cats did. All 3 of them got that in common. Rudy T won. George Carl didn't. But all them coaches, they were on that gimmicky long volleyball back tap. They would do wonders right now. That's what's up. So they missed out. Yep, Doug Moe. Mm-hmm. Good call on Doug Moe. No one ever talks about that because Denver was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, it's different now though. So that's what I would do. They got to get back to basics. They got embarrassed. You know. Yeah, but I didn't look at Westfall. They did get to the finals though. That wasn't why they lost to the Bulls. There's a few factors involved. But Don Nelson comes to mind. Mo comes to mind. Pringles comes to mind. And that's what we used to call him. Y'all didn't call, you never heard that before? We used to call him Pringles. He looked just like Pringles. Between Pringles and Colonel Sanders with that mustache. We call him Pringles. So between him, Pringles, George Carl. Oh yeah, we did. We always had names for turkeys. We be sitting there. It's like Robert Ory. You can say, "What's Will Smith doing up there?" Call him Will. Say, "Oh Will, Men in Black, get ready to drop." Just call him Men in Black. Oh yeah, you be looking at cats like, yeah. We had names for cats. Still do. Still do. If I see somebody, mm-hmm. Cause I call Tatum S Curl, and then I be looking at, yeah, he used to look like Danny Glover when he, but when he got that puffy beard, he been like R. Kelly, cause R. Kelly had that what's that dark, heavy, shaggy beard, and I was like cracking up. I don't know what ritual that was. I don't know what it was about that big long black beard. I didn't get it. He went through them phases. Called Luca Wimpy because he be eating burgers all the time. Oh, Mr. Cheap. Mr. Cheap because he's notorious for not running but more than about 5 or 6 players. So Mr. Cheap, he's always on the cheap. He just always looks cheap, you know, hanging by the threads of his hair on his head. He's Mr. Cheap. But if he fool around and get to the finals, it'll probably be long overdue. But I don't know. I still ain't bought into him like that. I like Jalen Brunson a lot, but there's something about that team I just can't quite. I just can't quite. Rick Carlisle's like Clark Kent because he looked like he be riding behind the cape. Jokic is just a handler. He be handling things. That's all. He's the handler. He be handling things. Mhm. No, but if he wins another ring, yeah. He wins another ring, yeah. Especially in this climate, yeah. Because he really ain't got no. If he can pull it off with this, yeah, yeah. And KD's taking the worst beating of anybody because his legacy's falling by the wayside in terms of where we all time ranking. I mean, most people. I think as a point not that long ago, missing people jobs because he missing in person. I mean, really. And I thought at worst he would have been like a bigger version of Clay Thompson because he could shoot. I seen him in high school. That cat had a shot. Cat could shoot. And he do have them out of body games where he will throw a 20 some on you, but it's so rare. And I know he's injured, but he just inconsistent. Oh, you saw my video. So what I did with that video, because I got asked that question on here. That's what inspired that video because of the. It was actually about the Hakeem Clyde versus Kobe missing in person job down. It's true, and it's a shame too because I look at the size they have on their front. They should be the equivalent to Bird, Parrish, and McHale and Walton for their era. Not saying as good as, but when you think about the size and the fact that all those cats can shoot threes and they get inside out, they should be 15 points every night, all three, at the barest minimum. But they're not. They're not. They underachieve. Yeah, because I seen him play. And I seen him play. He could shoot, but he's going through something. I don't know if it's his brother. I know he's dealing with injuries. I don't know what's all up, but he should be way better than he is. They should actually have a team that's a dynasty, if you want my honest opinion, with the front they got. Because they got a lethal starting five that should be. You got four guys that should be 15 to 20 points a game. Four. Jimmy Smith. I liked Herman more, but Jimmy Smith was better. He just played for Jacksonville, and but I do remember Herman Moore. They always had big receivers in Detroit too. Jimmy Smith was nice though, but he played with Jacksonville. I ain't gonna argue on it. I liked Herman Moore, but Jimmy Smith moved me more though. He stuck with Mark Brunell. Neither one of them had a top tier quarterback. So, and I think with Herman Moore's situation is Megatron came along, and unless of course you remember him, you kind of forget him. That's all right. He should get it. If she strikes you, you got to protect you. So it depends on what she strikes you with. If she strikes you with fists, if she hits you with a weapon, you got to protect yourself. Because once you hit somebody, it's fair game. That's how I look at it. Purdy is just benefiting because the 49ers don't have a backup plan. I like Herman Moore, but I wouldn't put him in the same sentence with Sterling Sharp. Not the way I remembered it. I saw both of them play, and Sterling Sharp was better than his brother. I'm just gonna keep it 100. Sterling Sharp was like Cheryl Miller to Reggie Miller and to Shannon Sharp. Okay, and we're gonna keep it 100. It's just that he got hurt. Because if he don't get hurt, he was right there with Irvin. He was right there with Rice. He was that nice. Herman Moore was good, but I didn't know. Oh yeah, because I mean, you know, again, cats be drinking that Jack Daniels, drinking that yak. You can't be just putting your hands on people. So yeah, you get knocked out. What's happening? How you doing, Charlene? If you get knocked out, you got to protect yourself. I don't encourage no one to do anything, but at the same time, you can't get abused. You don't want to go through that either. So I'm not condoning. Before we go on, because I know anybody thinking about the Diddy thing, because of maybe what I said. Um, Cassie ain't no victim. I don't care. You don't like it. I'm letting it be known. She ain't no victim. Now she was victimized, yes, but then you stand there 10 years later. I can't sit there. What's happening? I can't sit there and condone what I've been hearing in that courtroom because she still got feelings for him. She actually turned out to be the worst case for the prosecution. Yeah, people do. She turned out to be. It's like you know, because she liked the lifestyle. Why didn't she leave? If I put $5 million and I give you $100,000 cash till you can get your nails done, get your car done, you can look good, your life, you ain't gonna leave that. That's a good question. And then I think you got to say, I because she passed. If they both had a died, if she had a died, oh yeah, she was a human porta potty. If they both had a died, I would have said Madonna, but right now it's Whitney. Because Whitney didn't turn into more iconic. Madonna's almost being kind of, she still remembered, but it ain't quite the same. So I think Whitney's passing kind of flipped that. If you must know right now. Look, you shoot, you be they'll make you into a porta potty. That's not the most. That's pretty common actually. That happened at the Playboy Mansion. Cassie didn't mind. She got used to it. She that's what she successful. She was sprung on him. Shoot, her husband used to be his what? Used to be his masseuse or something else. Come on now, he a freak. I mean, think about it. You married a woman who was all with Diddy like that, and you knew it too. There's accessories. The more they talk, the worse they look. Hugh Hefner had Hugh Hefner got down with a dog or a horse or something. Look on today's show with Brian Gumbo and type in Hugh Hefner with the animal. It's on a Today's Show. It's on YouTube. Freak. Mm-hmm. Hugh Hefner was doing with everything, and he told it to Brian Gumbo too. He wasn't that naive. Yep. So Cassie went there with Ryan Leslie, the musician. They made a trade off, yo. They made a trade off. That was a trade. I'm gonna have to break it down to some people who don't know how this industry works. This industry is like a prison. It's a plantation auction. They make trades. They find you. They use you. You do you for play, for stay, for way. You don't even really even consider yourself a type of anything. Your identity is whatever the dark lights say for that time. So they don't even really consider themselves anything. It's like that. There's a lot of skits that are like that. You got to look at some of these skits because a lot of them are a reflection of what some of these cats had to go through to get where they got. That's what Chappelle was told to get that 50 million. Get on that table. And he didn't do it. Well, I wasn't looking at her no way because when they tried to push her off as a singer, I'm like, that's what they all want. He might be, but you know what? He don't consider himself that because you know why? Because they don't. They let me tell you something. You put enough drugs on there, you were anything you want to be. It's not the way you think. They don't. A lot of people think that they operate like we. They don't operate like that. They well, when he made that line about that RuPaul was better looking than Escape, he said some suspect stuff. She bought into the light. That's what she wanted. You gotta remember what I always say: cheeks for checks, booty for looted. Where have I not said anything differently? When have I not told you that the industry is like one big Fleece Johnson party? We do this the easy way or the hard way. Makes me no difference. What makes you think it's that different? How you think these people get put on? Why you think they ain't got no money? Why you think they look all broken, disheveled? Why you think when you see Justin Bieber now, he look like someone just took half his hood, his heart's gone. Macaulay Culkin. When you see them, what do you think this is? This ain't no joke. You know, I'm gonna tell you like this: watch your TV or your computer and enjoy, listen to your music, but don't get caught being starstruck because you in for a rude awakening. It's not about. She wanted the lifestyle, and I'll give you another name that you don't think about because she was involved with a brother when she first started too. Her name was Katy Perry with Travis McCoy. Remember, light skinned brother, B.O.B. with did be a billionaire. Did the song with Bruno Mars. What happened to Travis McCoy? Think about it. Katy Perry went on, did whatever. She's somewhere hiding right now, y'all. She should be. She should be right there in the cell with him. Because Shine did like 50 years and everybody know he had to take the L. Yeah, she should be locked up. Mhm. She's a co-contributor. It's an accessory. It's funny how they had her locked in New York on that for 11 hours on that block and she couldn't move, but she didn't catch no case. Diddy took all the case. Diddy bought her first record on the 6th. She the non-singing self. They all in it. Beyonce got Aaliyah's career, basically. Because Jay-Z and Damien Dash and R. Kelly all with I mean, come on now. You see the whole train. It's all connected. That cheesecake, that episode which I did happen to watch when he told him to go get the cheesecake was for Beyonce because she was upstairs. What's she doing upstairs getting some cheesecake at Diddy's house? Come on now. They all in it. It's a small world after all. See, that's the thing. You ain't fresh in that business. Everybody been through something. It ain't no fresh. Fresh is fresh nothing. Beyonce originally used to mess with Marcus Houston. Remember, they did that little corny move, which ain't nobody really ever watched. That was one of the cats. She's always gonna be industry. I think she was down with Most Def too. It's always gonna be some industry cats with that because it's all industry. So I wouldn't be surprised. They go looking for a made man. If you talking about the town or you talking about the basketball team, Houston is kind of strange though. They all kiss the ring. First of all, Fat Joe is a snitch. So, oh yeah, with the Jehovah Witness and the young wife, that thing didn't last. He got Tubi movies too, by the way. He got a lot of Tubi. Him and that old freaky Chris Stokes got a Tubi. They kings of Tubi. Jadakiss sold out. I like him as a rapper, underrated, but he sold out. Gene Deal is on the payroll too. You got a memory for everything. Of course you do. How you think you get away with this? You have you part of the informant for the agency. You bought into the industry. Of course you do. Like you can just sashay into these countries and places and don't give up no money. Of course you do. I'm not coming down at you, but I'm telling you how the game goes. Oh yeah, you pay ties. You pay ties. They in on it. It's a conglomerate that controls it. Cause Jada ain't got no personality. Jada was the guy that was the broke version of Nas. He was the Nas for cats that couldn't blow up. Got crazy spit game. Never could blow him up. He was the dude that couldn't be common. He couldn't be common. He couldn't be Nas, and he was the dude we all dug, but he never could blow up. So now he's stuck with a snitch like Fat Joe, which because that's where some bread you make a bag. They looked at Mason Cameron now because he would be floating down the road now, and the mob that he float would snitch on would be Clive Davis, who's got part of a network. See, there's a network of these cats. See, when you ask me that question, right, and that's a good question you ask, then think about Tupac and all that, and think about Gene Deal knowing about L.A. Think about all that. All that stuff is connected. Of course he is. He's a lawyer too. That's how he started his trade back in '58. Answer the billboard. He ain't no music. He don't know about no music. He's a lawyer, and lawyers run the industry. Clive is no different than who? David Stern, Adam Silver. Guess his background. Look at the position they're in. Think about it. Think about it. This the scary part is when you get enlightened and you see these people and you see all this stuff is connected and you see who be calling the shots and the strings, who they look like, they be pulling the strings. Think about it. Because Clive was pimping Whitney Houston and they Mr. Clive. Well, if you ever watch Michael Franceschi, you can watch a lot of that come through there too. Do you find me? No, because you got to know what not to put in your body. If you like vegetables, it's not expensive. My vegetarian vegan meat doesn't cost as much, and I eat protein. Um, I still like my peanut butter and jelly and stuff like that, and I like some basic stuff. No, it's not. It used to be. It used to be. But you can get you a bought veggie pizza, buy your pizza, put your own toppings with vegetables, bring you mushrooms. You can make all kinds of food if you're creative. You can have Mexican food, Asian food, with a lot of vegetables. It's not expensive if you know how to get it. Well, it's different now because with the streaming, they still around. It's just different. Who's more iconic? Because Whitney passed, I say more so because Madonna then fell off. Yeah, you not put some. If you not put some, you know how to put some seasoning on that thing. I got lettuce. I got seasoning. And you know how to work it. You can put some barbecue sauce, some ketchup, mustard. You make that thing whip. You can have all that on there. It whips. Pickles, green onions. If you know what you're doing, you got to know how to season it though, and it tastes good. Yeah, Whitney, because I think her passing more so because Madonna ain't really on the cultural swing except for nostalgia. But I think Whitney passing, being young, and all that, I think that kind of made her, you know, I think Madonna is one of the kind of people have kind of gotten kind of, weaned off of. They still got old respect for her, but you have to be thinking like probably like 25 years ago, and it's cooled way off. I'm taking anything with Nas over Gangsta's Paradise. Look, I thought Coolio was cool for what he did, but it was more about LV's hook. That's how I look at it. And Coolio wasn't no chump rapper. It's just that the stuff that hit commercially, they had him like in the MC Hammer type of crossover when that cat could actually spit. Because if you ever heard the mixtapes he did, which was on that Poetic Justice, the one that Tupac had him played in the background, they was bumping. Coolio had some bumps, but he had to play the industry game. So all that went down. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Clive is, oh man, Clive, Jimmy Iovine, all them. You know, you gotta understand, it is a racket. It's a racket that goes in the game. The industry's built on that, and there's bigger layers than you can imagine because they own stuff. You know, they own things. I saw you in the video with it. It's great. Well, they wanted her for star power with Michael. Oh yeah. So, do you ever watch Michael Franchese? He's now the Reverend or whatever he is, mobster from Michael Franchese. If you ever watch him, please do. Look at his basketball videos because he was talking about he had my when he was talking about Jordan and he said we were in the NBA and I'm like, what position did you play? you don't look like you don't look like you be the mascot. But I had to read between the lines. Yes. And Tim Donahue, who ends up, you remember what David Stern before he died? He talking about, oh, he's a felon. He don't. I said he did what y'all wanted him to do. Well, when he said that line, we in the NBA, I'm like, wrong row. I said, legalize gambling, my friend. No, because kids don't play that no more. And after pandemic and all that, but it's not the same because kids don't play no more. Not like that. They don't get down like that no more. It's changed. It changed. She fell off in the sense that her voice did. Let me address all three. She did in terms of her voice, because after I Always Love You, she hit peak prime, and then after that, she did a reality show with Bobby, and she had a couple of rockets out, but it wasn't the same. I mean, she came back with "I Look to You," the one R. Kelly did, which they sat on for like 10 years, but it wasn't like her prime peak. You were around from 85 to about 96. She couldn't do no wrong. As far as Michael, he did. It wasn't the same. Listen, off the wall through dangerous, he was unfadable. Unfadable. History is when it started to kind of, and then it kind of leveled. He because he leveled it himself. But from off the wall through dangerous, he was on it. He was hitting on crazy cylinders. Madonna did because of the new material. Yeah. Oh, that's a toughie for me because they both great. And September is one of the greatest straight pop songs, but I gotta give it to Human Nature because that vocals alone, and it sounds better live too. You do know September Earth, Wind& Fire. Body up, say do you remember? Not the Taylor Swift version though. The Taylor Swift version, you know. was supposed to be a friend of his. That was a friend of his. Michael went through some self issues. So I'm not gonna sit here, even though I'm a big fan of him musically, I'm not gonna sit here and as I do with my sports teams, I'm not gonna cop no cop no excuses for him. He went through self esteem issues. He dealt with it within his family. He got teased in the industry. He was told too black, too this and that, and they messed with him. Oh yeah, I separate the two because he did have a pro black aesthetic. I mean, when he bought all that catalog, who got upset? And there are some black folks who didn't really understand the totality of what he was doing as a businessman. When he bought that and his publishing, oh, I had Beatle fans come to me talking about why he. I said, why not? I said the industry been buying catalogs for ages and they own black catalog. Why not? I never do get asked about two. When you ask me this question, you ask me who do I find more believable or who more entertaining. Jaguar cracks me up. She got a microphone outside the Diddy, outside the courthouse. That cracks me up. She's got stories. I probably watch her more than Tokyo Tony, but they both be kind of wild. But Jaguar is entertaining, but sometimes it's for the wrong reasons. No, I mean, Michael just like I said before, he was cool with that one dude. So the funny thing about I Look to You, R. Kelly had wrote that back in 9900, and they sat on that thing for like 10 years. Clive wouldn't let it put out, and it did sounded good. And then when he did it at her funeral service, he almost broke down. He sat on that song for about because see, there's an old MTV clip where he's playing it and he talks about it, and he was sitting on it for yeah, he sat on it for they Clive didn't put it out. It was sitting in the can for almost a decade. Don't ask me why. I thought it was a good song. That and I think that if I'm honest with you, people were kind of moving on from him too because Earth, Wind, and Fire saying September. Because you gotta remember something, Michael Jackson had been around for like 25 years when history all that came out. You're gonna have some kind of a backlash. You can't be. I like that Bone Thug song just a bit, even though Biggie's cadence was sick. Yeah, he was the truth. He had some funky lines, and he could definitely style. So that's good that you asking me that too, cause they both worked together, and they did remember the Ten Commandments. He tore that up with them. That was good. Yeah, yeah. But Whitney was also because of the whole thing with Robin and the industry, and she had no money. Her daddy pimped her, Clyde pimped her, and Robin was acting crazy. So so there was a lot going on. That fairy tale came crashing. Cinderella lost the wig and the heels. It was just a wrap. Sad ending too. Sad ending. Who's more believable out of what? Who's more believable? I don't know who you when you ask me that question. Who's more believable? I liked Heavy D. I was a big Heavy D fan. I liked Heavy D. I like Heavy D. I like Heavy D. Yeah, I did. They try to say the Bills got the fourth easiest schedule or some mess. Um, you know, a girl named Worth It was my cut, but Ricky had the better career. That's a tough question for a different reason. Cause whose songs are better? I like. I like Glenn's one song. He Nothing's Gonna Change My Love, but Ricky had more energy though. Ricky had the better. Yeah, I saw the Bills schedule. I don't. Yeah, it's the stupidest thing because I did a video about when they talk about oh so and so got an easy schedule, and then I think to myself, um, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? So I don't even know what that means. I don't know, you know, what does that mean? Because you gotta remember, if guys get hurt, then what? What does an easy schedule mean? That's a diss to teams. Or you trying to make a whack team look good? I don't know. So I don't know what that even means. So it's so stupid because if that's the case, that means the Chicago Bears should be playing Cleveland like two times out the year, right? And then they should be able to play the Giants. I mean, think about it. That's what that means. So, I mean, they got a good team. They was coming on about a year ago. They got a good team. I figured one of those teams out that division because Cleveland was running. I think Twins been looking good. So again, I don't get excited about early part of the season, but that's not a surprise though. That's not a surprise. Expect something like that to happen. So no, different tone, different tone. Anita Baker and her at a different tone, different tone. Yeah, that's cool. Just hope he's healthy and he can, do what he do. It's I told you it's all about October, September. It's not even about now. I'm not even entertaining nothing now. Well, that's about par for the course because that's about where, and Hooters is gonna get more conservative because I heard they're making them wear more clothing. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. That's why he gonna try to buy them and do what? He'd have actually been perfect for that back in the '80s and the '90s. He's a blonde. He actually would have been the perfect mask working there. When you think about it in hindsight, I like girls can't. She ain't worth it. The one he did with Bobby Brown. That's the one I like. Cause well he did. Think about it. When you talking about the blonde hair and the yeah, he looked like that's what he was emulating. In hindsight, when I think about how he he had the red. Remember he had the red rip shirt. Think about it. Runt roll. I'm just saying. Funny you mentioned that because that's how he dressed. Actually, if you think about it. But I did like that's a song that I like. Now, heck no. Billy Bob and basically Playboy type of chick rejects and nah, it was kind of like it wasn't really geared because the food it was generic. It was like a Billy Bob. I think I went to one and it was nondescript. It was kind of like I don't even know why. It was kind of like one of them things, kind of a curiosity. It was corny, corny. The only thing they're selling is because they're wearing booty shorts and tight t-shirts, and that's what it was about. But it didn't even really, you know. So, so that's all. But yeah, it wasn't something I even thought about though. I remember that. I saw that. I saw that thing in L.A. Ain't nobody care about him no more. You know, he's pathetic. He got old, and he just looked bad. He aged bad. You know, yeah, I remember him in the childhood, and that's how I'm gonna have to remember him. But beyond that, nothing else. So I got nothing else to really gauge it on. He ain't gonna apologize because he don't think he did nothing wrong. But I'm tell you something, people that moved on from him, he just ain't got the memo. This ain't the 80s no more. This ain't 85 and this ain't 95 and this ain't even '05 when he was part of the NWO. Yeah, and what you want? Want a cookie? Growing up around, listen to the music, and there's a big difference between. It's kind of like when I hear Mike Dicker say that he grew around Gail Sayers and Walter Payton, and he says, "I didn't notice nothing." Like, okay, they grew up around them, all right. They were around them, they owned them, and they ran them, and they made money off of them, and pimped them, and told them what to do. Yeah, what you want? What you want? Because that's the denial that keeps on going. And he's so comfortable with him. How come he got mad when the dude was with his daughter? Hmm. Yeah, that's what got him in trouble with the cats. So he said that Walter Payton. He says, "I never knew about no racist." He said that. Yeah, I don't know if he's anti, but I know he definitely got old school Jim Crowish in him. He didn't say some suspect stuff, and that ridiculous dreads on his head when they had Ricky Williams was embarrassing. So I don't pay him, So anyway, I got 15 more minutes. Be on here for 15 more minutes. I never felt Ricky was like that. Ricky was a brother, but he was going through things. I never thought Ricky was too black. It's just that Dicker went on there with them dreads at that press conference. Ricky had a bad deal. I know he got hustled by Master P. I know that was one of the worst sports agent deals ever. Ricky was I think Ricky was on the spectrum, and I like Ricky, but I think Ricky got kind of, you know, got kind of manipulated. But when he got to Miami, he looked good. Remember when he ran against the Bills in the snow, he looked good. So I like Ricky. Okay, okay, I'll check it out. I did like Tony Allen though. They had a what did they have on recently that I like? They had I forgot who was on it recently. I definitely like what I somebody on the head because there was a couple of clips I like. I definitely like the Greg Hodges. The Hodges one was probably one of the best I've heard. Greg Hodges was really good. But Tony Allen was nice though. He's cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. He's right. It is, but that's what they want. It's too young. That's what he's trying to say, and his lack of maturation. I agree. Because one of the things that doesn't get talked about is the silliness. Like LeBron is silly with the way he courts himself with the media. And Durant, they don't act like elders. They don't act like they are. They act like they still 22. Steph, to an extent, too, with his antics. You know, there is a maturation to him, but they just don't really act like they develop. You don't want no fighting in the house. So if you can't get along, you go apart. You don't need fighting. You don't want to put on a facade if y'all don't, you know. But yeah, he right about the puppy. Yeah, that's what I just got through saying. That's one of the reasons why I have a problem with LeBron James. He's a vulgarian. He can't even have a conversation without this word coming up. There's a lack of respect. That's what JJ Redick with all that. When you get maturation, you know it. And I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm hard pressed to find a player today that actually exudes that. I thought Andre Iguodala, even though he was divisive, actually said some mature things. I think he was mature. That's a lost art. Cats don't act like they ever grow up, and that's what's happening. That's why I don't like watching Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce stories because they still talk that, and it's like y'all haven't. Charles Barkley does act like his age. He cracks stuff, but he acts his age. Kenny does too. That's a big thing right there. Cats not acting where they are. You know, still petty, still hanging on for something. So, well, they are in a situation if they're getting paid lots of money, they know that the game is not really theirs to run anymore because you don't really get to put a structure on your situation. Steve Kerr is the last coach you saw that had some kind of structure and keeping that chaos. He is with Draymond because I don't know how he tolerates that mess. You know, I never saw Phil Jackson look out of sorts like that. Pat Riley never. So and Joe Mazzulla letting them shoot threes like that and not holding it down. Michael Malone's situation in Denver. I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad. These coaches today are just, you know, you know. So I don't really. It's becoming like a faceless situation. Eric Spoelstra didn't look good this year. No, I don't think he's a pushover because I think that he green lights Draymond. He plays the role like he's soft and meek, but he's aware of what needs to be. Bobby Caldwell, because Caldwell got a song that everybody still sings. Eminem had to do like 50 things to get that. Bobby Caldwell got the respect because it's not even close. Don't let the awards and the hype get you. Spo's a good coach, but Spo got in over his head this year. I like Spo. But if he has another year like this, he got to go to the front office. never have this happen again. He can never have it happen again. You can never have another year like that again. So, no, Bobby Caldwell just earned it. I mean, the thing about it is Eminem's got respect for the success, but that's all because of association with some of it was associated with Dre and plus in the art form. It's two different animals. But Caldwell came out the gate with a song that, hey, I know that's gonna be sad for me. That's gonna be sad. It's the end of the road, end of an era. That's sad. And they were on point this year too. They were funny. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it. Yeah, it's almost like symbolic. It's very symbolic. I hate it's gonna be the last one too. I really do. So I got the Pacers. I think they are legit. I know the powers that be want the Knicks, but the Pacers. I think Rick Carlisle got something to prove. And I just think they look better to me. But I think the powers that be want the Knicks in Minnesota. Sad to say. He was on Skip Bayless's show. He was on Skip's show. Yeah, Fat Joe was there. I saw Lenny Kravitz. I saw Tracy Morgan. I saw them at the games. Oh, I like Tom Jones. I mean, he was great. He had a better career. He been eating right. Bahamas, he be eating his vegetables. I seen his videos. He eat right. He lives off the land. He doesn't put no toxins in his body. He lives right. He works out. Just how what you put in your tune. I listened to Bobby Caldwell more, but Tom Jones had the bigger career though. It all depends, if you take care of yourself. That's why I can't root for the Knicks. That's why I can't. That's why I can't root for the Knicks. I don't like James Dolan, so I'm sorry. And that's not that I wouldn't want them to win, but I don't like James Dolan. You can call me mean, hard up on the high end. I can't if I don't root for you. He's so lucky too. Oh, he is lucky that they got Brunson came up because that's what made him believable again. Because I think he a biggie. Because I look at him like I look at he's the things with Oakley. There was something that was said with him. He just they he hurt them by being an owner because that's why they were obsolete for so many years. That's why they were like kind of like I don't want to say a laughing stock. Yeah, he had his dad on the staff. I got that, and he turned out to be a great player. Looks like it was Kelsey. Yeah, he took a lot out in that series. So I just don't. You ask me why I don't like him. It's just, yeah, he just rubs me the wrong way. I'm gonna be real with you. If he was more likable, I believe that the Knicks would have been a lot more successful sooner. Nobody's gonna touch him. No one's gonna touch him. He's old news, and people know at 40 he ain't gonna do nothing. No one's gonna touch him. Yeah, because that was a reality that people didn't really want him there. That's what I was talking about. You gotta remember before they got Jalen Brunson, they went a long time before they did anything. Couldn't attract no free agents. That's what I'm talking about. So he had a bad reputation. Yeah, but you know what he did? He let that play out. There was a difference. He don't own the team, and plus they made a move. But did it play out where he looked good? Yes. The Knicks situation after the Carmelo thing, then he got Porzingis. They went a long time before they did anything. The Brunson thing was like a fluke because they weren't attracting anybody. To get Cat was like the first big move they've had in years. They didn't have they didn't attract nobody. Yeah, so that's why Nico. Hmm. Well, yeah, but everybody ain't gonna be like Kobe. But it's just that Luca was bringing his own team, his own entourage, his own. Yeah. So was whatchamacallit was his age Rob Palenka, but Luca is coming from a Luca is more American than Kobe was. I mean, different aesthetic. Luca should have ran after Dirk and asked him how to get better. Just a different hit. pay no mind because he couldn't get no weight and he couldn't get better. Steve Francis was running too fast for him, and his game never really got to another level. He was good, but he was never great. He had a couple out of body moments against Shaq, and he couldn't do nothing with Tim Duncan, so that became more problematic as the years went by. And then when Kobe dunked all on him and flushed him out, that was it. And then that whole nonsense about Yao and T Mac being the new Shaq and Kobe. He was good, but he wasn't great. So it's not gonna be what people think, though. He's not gonna sit there and badmouth. He said something about LeBron, which I've said all along. He respects him and he thinks he's a great player. He says, however, we're different eras, different times. That's all that needs to be said. That's why it's stupid when people going about who's the greatest and this, because you can only talk about your time and your era. There's too many changes. The game has fundamentally changed, even from the time when Nash and Phoenix was doing things, when Shaq was doing things. It's changed in 25 years. You can't possibly compare it. He will. He will. He'll probably be like Red Auerbach about it. He might be matter of fact, or he might schmooze, but he ain't gonna go. He's gonna pretty much say that because that is both sides, which is true. The game is different. You can't compare eras, and you can't really say that this one is greater than or that one because it's a different game. It's a different. It's different players. It's officiate. It's everything is different. You fool around and get your feelings hurt if you try to say that someone couldn't hang with you or this or that. So it's best to just say, hey, every era had their greatness. Because you do a disservice if you. So he's not going to say anything. Well, we get that because he was winning. And he was reflective about what he accomplished. This is different. He's going to be asked to speak on how he sees the game today and as an owner and you know he's got to talk about Lonzo Ball, talking about Ball. He gonna tippy toe. So he ain't gonna say nothing that's gonna be outrageous. You know, of course he's gonna always edify the era he came up in too. So if you expect he's gonna give Steph Curry some love, think again. You know, but he will give. Cause Larry Bird ain't gonna do that kind of show. Larry Bird ain't gonna sit there and say nothing. Larry Bird is pretty much politic out. He's not touching it. And all they want to do is ask him. Maybe they ask him about 10 questions about Jason Tatum and Brown, or ask him about 80 questions about Steph Curry, which he don't want to talk about. So yeah, Larry Bird ain't gonna do that though. That's not how Bird rolls. The problem with Lambeer is that he's not interesting. I mean, aside from he could talk about LeBron and Jordan, what's he gonna talk about? Unless of course him and Draymond Green were hosting a show together, or a podcast together. actually had a better outside shot than Draymond did, but yeah, nobody would. I mean, he played good in spurts, but let's not get it twisted. They weren't a threat to. They wasn't a threat. No. Lambeer and Draymond. Mm, it could be interesting if they got to talk about if we took the politics out. Mm-hmm. You know, when Lambeer played, his daddy made more money than he did. I do like B Diddy. He'll never get that gig, but I like him. He was a cat that was a victim of where he played and timing and injuries. Because he's everything that they tried to say that Chris Paul was. That's how I feel about Baron Davis. Because they knew that he was a joke, a chump. His ball back then. Yeah, he's good for analysts. I don't know why they keep giving him a job for. You know how it's gonna turn out, and they won't be happy until Giannis leaves. Cause ain't no way no Giannis gonna stay there and get coached by him. It's a good analysis. He can't because he keeps get these hookup jobs, and they gonna always keep going to him because he has a reputation. Why does Austin Reeves need a podcast? He need to go somewhere he can be a real third option on a team that doesn't have expectations. That's where he need to go, and then he can look like a second tier player. He got exposed bad in the playoffs this year. Bad. Oh, Austin Rivers. I thought about Austin. I got it mixed up. You said Rivers. I was thinking about Austin Reed. I was thinking about the Lakers. Uh, no, he corny. He said something off the wall about something. Uh, oh, and if you're thinking that Mark Jackson got a good podcast, I like his. But you think that LeBron's gonna help Austin Rivers out? No, he slips enough as it is. Yeah, I saw that. Rightfully so. Cats be saying stuff that they shouldn't be saying. He ain't gonna have it for long because he's kind of like the Smokey Rhyme. That whole thing with that girl, that woman. I don't know. I think it's gonna take its toll on him. I haven't seen anything new since that story went down. I watched it, but they all kind of like the same after a while because he had Magic on there who did said the same stuff I heard before, and then he had Sean Stockton from Boys to Men on it. So it's nothing too different. watch some of those shows, but I mean, after a while, they have pretty. I saw Sean Stockton from Boys to Men. He was on Byron Scott's, and I seen his show. And it's kind of corny. He's trying to sell his records. Some of these cats trying to sell it, you know. It's alright. I'll be on for about 8 more minutes. If he gets in shape and he's got to play more than 25 games a season, it's a big risk. If I'm rolling him, he's either gonna go to Miami or Golden State. It's the only two places. Oh yeah, if he's in shape, yeah, and you get yourself Tyler Hero looks good, you get your couple cats off the bench, then you might be on to something. Like I said, either Miami or Golden State. Oh yeah, to me that gets. So remember, Will was up there earlier. Asked me how Curry could get a ring. Zion, healthy, motivated. He's the link between Butler and Draymond. That would be a scary foursome if he's focused. And playing with Curry, yeah. Get you a couple pieces off the bench, yeah. I'd have Pozimski off the bench, or I might have him start. I'd rotate. I make Draymond with the second team, and I might have Jimmy Butler with the second team with GP. But if I run Curry, Zion, and Buddy Hield, then I can go start at the bench. If you had Curry, if you had Curry, that would work only if they have a second good player. That's the problem. That's tricky because they're basically right now they're like OKC without SGA. Just Jalen Green too inconsistent. They ain't missing that alpha. And you put an alpha and you got Zion, you coming out the West. Put it to you like this: if the Rockets had like Jalen Brown and you unloaded Green and a couple pieces and you brought Zion in, they coming out the West. Because basically the Rockets right now are like the Cleveland Cavaliers. No, he actually originally wanted to go to the Knicks. That was the original. No, he don't shoot threes enough, and he'd have to take over the Al Horford position and bang. And that's the reason why I don't think him with the Celtics would work. If they had won another ring and they were unloading a couple pieces, then yeah. But they too vulnerable right now. Mm-mm. And he's too streaky with his body and his condition and how he plays. So no, that could set them back 5 years. Because he's the young next thing, but you got to have the right pieces. And De'Aaron Fox better be it. I don't know. Halliburton. You'd have asked me that 2 years ago, I'd have said Fox in the blowout, but De'Aaron didn't fell off. I mean, he didn't. I don't know. He been hair on the roast. I don't know what happened. stat padding and just I don't know, but Halliburton playing the way you want, getting things done. I don't know. They just as long as they get the job done. I don't know. They don't really work. You end up having to pay for them. Even Ronald Reagan was opposed to that. And then I'm going to do a video about Trump trying to tell Walmart don't charge because of making, because they got to make up their costs. That's what it's a bad look. It could come out that it evens things out, but when will that happen? The economy, people are going to end up paying. They're going to pay for what he wanted. Tariffs are not a good idea. They make everything rise in cost, and you end up paying more as the consumer. And see, Trump think he's slick by coming. Now, if Walmart went ahead and said we're bringing the DEI back, we sorry we took away our diversity programs because if we gotta keep our costs down, we're gonna do one of the other. It's gonna be our everything. That's where it's headed. That's where it's headed. Because part survive the fittest, and the part the last one standing. He might. What's up, T Dub? He might. First things first. They gotta win. But hey, don't be surprised because they got the electric cars and cars driving by themselves and all that. And I'm telling you, it's a lot of stuff's gonna about to happen. Thanks for coming through, T Dub. Yeah, I'm on for about another 5 more. I got about 6 more minutes because I've been on for over two. I'll be back on tomorrow, but not as long tomorrow. But I'll be on. But the Timberwolves might could do it. They just might could. They got a good lineup. This is a good chat. I'm glad everybody came through. It's like old times again. Yeah, they're definitely putting chips in everything, and so prerogative. I like the live version of Control, but prerogative had a kick to it. That had a kick to it. He just saying it. If he wins, he don't mind. He's playing like it because he holds back and then he builds up over the course of the game. Okay, so I got a few more minutes. Be on about 3, 4 more minutes. I ain't got no problem if he beats the face of the NBA because he's American and they've been looking for a guy that's kind of got that kind of vibe. It's tough being champs when you don't really put the effort into it. You just think because you're in name that you're just gonna shoot your way through. You didn't want to defend, you didn't want to hustle, and then you end up losing. And I just think that they went about it the wrong way. They believed the press clippings. Tatum is considered soft. I mean, you think that Steve Kerr had upset his feelings. They wanted to come with a chip on his shoulder. They didn't do nothing. They were just kind of happy to be there. It's tough now because these teams aren't built the same as they once were. You got find out. So different era. Different era. It's always tough because you got everybody coming at you, but I don't think Boston necessarily had New York's best shot. They just basically, like Charles Barkley said, they had to dump down and play that way and lose. I still don't think New York really beat them except for that last game. It's just that Boston just was so arrogant. They cost themselves. So, but anyway, that's what happens. So they will regroup. There we go. Peace the best. And I appreciate it when they came through. We were on here for 2 plus. Probably do maybe tomorrow. Probably come back tomorrow. Freedom, free day to come out and do stuff tomorrow. But appreciate everyone taking the poll. Looking forward to the results tonight's game. And stay safe, stay blessed. Thanks for everybody that came through. Appreciate y'all.